derby dates and when will the Reds face Manchester City? All will be revealed in just a minute. Neil Mellor and Opta's Michael Reid are with me, so stay tuned.
It's about where your dad went, it's about where your grandfather went. It's about a build-up over the years of stories, of sounds, of smells, of memories, which you just simply can't replace anywhere else.
That was our manager, and everybody loves him.
A lot of time in my life I thought back to this moment.
How can a club like Liverpool never have won the cup? You realise just what it meant to people.
Nothing is impossible. Things change in football, in life like this.
I went through all this and I know what some families are going through, so give them a chance.
Every time I played at Anfield, wherever I was with the ball, you're like deja vu. Things that flash through your mind in half a second.
Shagley was convinced the reason we lost the cup final in '71 was because of the shirts.
They said it was like sacks on our back.
I was a posh jock.
You were?
Yeah, being
Definitely.
from Edinburgh.
I went out for dinner with Kenny that night and I said to him, I said, look, this is the worst Liverpool side I've ever played in my life. This team's going to win nothing. And that's why I, of course, became a pundit.
Liverpool felt very much like the centre of the known universe. And of course, in the midst of all this, you have Bill Shankly, who fed off it, the Liverpool kind of arrogance, if you like.
What that fan park gave us, walking down to that ground, there was a belief in absolutely everyone.
I just wish I was 25 again to have another 10 years, but life doesn't work like that, does it?
Liverpool, 1st of September 1892. The beginning of the football season. Everyone's at the newly built Goodison Park, but one man is notably absent. Today, John Holding, Anfield landlord, brewer, businessman, and now ex-president of Everton FC, puts his reputation on the line. In a local house, in a makeshift changing room, his new team prepares. Assembled in weeks, they are Holding's greatest gamble. Liverpool Football Club, defiant in blue and white, takes to the pitch for the first time, with not even 100 people watching. Liverpool choose to attack the Anfield Road end. Holding ceremoniously kicks off, and he's barely left the pitch when Loudmouth Miller scores the club's first ever goal. No one expected that, but this is a team of Scotsmen chosen for their mastery of the ball. Captain Andy Hanna, former Everton skipper and master tactician, marshals his men. James McBride, tiny but nimble, is a Blair at right back. Funny man Malky McVean dances across centre field. Duncan, the Wall McLean, stops Rotherham Town dead. The team of Max thunders to a 7-1 victory. Holding's boldest venture is paying off beautifully. And the rest, well, it's history.
Hello and welcome to the show. We're live on LFC TV and across social media, and we can tell you Liverpool will start the new season away at Fulham. That game will be a 12:30 kickoff. That might not please everyone, of course. 12:30 start on the opening day, Fulham away. Neil Mellor and Opta's Michael Reid are in the studio with me in the main studio, and in our changing room area, Becky Davis is with a couple of COP season ticket holders, and we'll hear from them very shortly. All the season fixtures are running across the bottom of your screen. Please get in touch using the hashtag PLFixtures and we'll get the best of your messages up on the screen. Neil, let's get to the opening day. Fulham away, Championship winners, scored over 100 goals. Is it a good draw for Liverpool, this?
Well, I think first game of the season, we wanted it to be at home. It wasn't to be at Anfield, was it? It is another away game. Remember last season, of course, going to newly promoted Norwich. It wasn't a problem for us last season. What I would say about Fulham, having watched them a number of times in the Championship last season, they're a good side. They'll have momentum. They'll have confidence. They've been in this position before. They're not newcomers in terms of being in the Premier League. They've had a little bit of a up and down few seasons. They scored a lot of goals last season, but as with a lot of the newly promoted teams, and it'll be the same with Fulham this year, I think defensively they might be a little bit open where you're thinking we'll have a few chances to score goals.
Michael, opening day fixtures, what do you make of it?
Yeah, well, it's funny because it's now 4 consecutive seasons where Liverpool have drawn a promoted team on the opening day. You know, Norwich in the title-winning season 2019-20, Leeds the following season after that, Norwich again last season, and then Fulham again this season. It's actually the first time that Liverpool have ever played Fulham on the opening day of a league season, but it's just strange that it seems to be getting a run of promoted teams on the opening day.
Absolutely right. Let's get through all 38 fixtures, see how it works itself out, Neil. What was your first impression of Liverpool's fixture list?
Well, I think the big games that I'm looking at are obviously Man City. You know, you're thinking, where do we play Man City? Is it at home or away first? When we won the Premier League a few years ago, our first game against City was at home, and I felt as though that was an advantage for us because we won the game. When you're looking at the start there, I think what strikes me from that start, and it may well be the same for yourself, is 4 of our first 5 away games are tough away games, aren't they? You're thinking United, Everton, Chelsea and Arsenal. They are tough away games. So you're hoping that we're going to get a good start. We want to get a good start, get the momentum going in a position where we are challenging. But those away games are certainly what struck me as being a tough start for us.
Does it look comfortable as a start for you?
Well, I mean, the confidence is there. We're a side we know that are going to be challenging for the Premier League title again. And there you go, Man City, October the 15th. That is a game that really stands out. We're at home. It's on the back of a Champions League game. We'll have a Champions League game before that. But that's a massive game. It really is. Of course, the disruption of the World Cup this season. You know, we finished, 12th of November against Southampton. And we have to wait, 6 weeks before that game on Boxing Day against Aston Villa. I think the good thing as well to bear in mind is a few of our key players aren't going away on the World Cup. Salah's not going, Diaz isn't going, Andy Robertson, Matip. So there's key players that will be fresh for that. But that's something that's different this season, you know, that disruption because of the World Cup this season. And of course, 26th and the 31st of December, rather than, you know, being 26th and 28th, 29th, a couple of games which I think the managers have complained about, haven't they, in the past, of having games so close to each other. So giving that extra little bit of breather will certainly help.
Awful lot of games to pack in. You generally look at the start and the end of the season, don't you? And if you go to the back end of Liverpool's season, there are some big games scattered in there. The very finale, the last few games, look manageable.
Yeah, well, I mean, you're looking at that page there, aren't you? And the one that strikes out is Man City away, April the 1st, April Fool's Day. We hope certainly that we will not be the fools on that day. It's going to be a big game. And we hope at that point of the season, it comes late on in the season, doesn't it, that pretty much very much in the mix to be winning the Premier League title. Fulham at home before that. And here we go, we finish with an away game as well. So we're talking about starting the season away from home, and we finished the season away from home as well. So a bit of a blow. I quite like the last game of the season, if I'm being honest, to be at home in front of the home fans, but that's the way it is. Steven Gerrard's Aston Villa, the last home game of the season.
Right, so we're fairly comfortable. Let's drill down into some opening day stats with yourself, Mike. What stands out to you?
Well, if we look at the teams with the best sort of record on the opening day, Liverpool feature among them. So if we look here, of the Premier League sides who've played at least 10 seasons in the Premier League, there's only Manchester United and Chelsea who've actually won more times on the opening day of a season than Liverpool. So Liverpool generally getting off to these good starts. Some big names in this list as well, with Arsenal and Manchester City, and then Leeds creeping in at the bottom might surprise a few. Only 2 defeats for Leeds as well on the opening day, and one of those, of course, if you remember, was to Liverpool in the 2021 season. So Liverpool with the 3rd best record then. But if we flip it to managers and look at managers who've played at least 5 seasons in the Premier League, Klopp actually has the best ratio of points per game on the opening day of the season. Liverpool have won 5 out of 6 opening games of the season. And in fact, only Kenny Dalglish in Liverpool's entire history, if we look at the Liverpool managers with 5 or more wins on the opening day in the top flight, has a better win rate than Jurgen Klopp, who's level with Bill Shankly there, who had, of course, double the amount of time there. So, you know, Klopp's record on the opening day really has been good, getting Liverpool off to a good start, and that's what you hope for again this season.
Okie doke. Right, for the first time, let's head over to the changing room area and hear from our fans in the fan zone alongside Becky Davis. Becky.
Yeah, thanks very much indeed, Steve. I'm with our fans, John and Dan. I don't know about you, I feel like I've only just got my breath back from last season and now we're looking ahead to the next one. Are you quite ready for this next campaign, John?
Just about, Becky, yeah. I think last season, last few months, there was like 2-3 games a week and it was breathtaking, to be honest, you know,
yeah.
So just getting over that. Fantastic season. And looking forward to the new one, yeah, really.
What about yourself, Dan? You ready for it?
Definitely, Becky. As John just said, you know, it was pretty relentless last season. I expect this season to be the same all the way to the end.
We'll talk about the fixtures, obviously, the first few fixtures in a moment. But in terms of the whole season, what are the games that you look out for when the list comes out? Is it the Derby, United, City, obviously,
yeah,
John?
Yeah. I think for me, still, it's the Everton game first and then United. Obviously City are main rivals for the title and they're going to be the same again this year, but for me it's the local derby first really and then United.
Same question to you.
Same again, probably in that order as well. Probably City because, you know, it has been us two for the last few seasons fighting out at the top for the title, but it's still the derby because obviously it's local. It's always nice to get one over on the other side of the Merseyside, and then United because historically, you know, they've been with us in terms of the amount of trophies won, and again, locality.
In terms of the league, City maybe could be the most significant game in terms of points. You look at how agonisingly close once again it was last season. I mean, they've strengthened obviously with Haaland. What's your take on how close it's going to be this season? Can we go one better?
I think we can, you know. I think looking back into the 18-19 season when we finished a point behind them, I think the season after we won the league, we were fantastic. We didn't drop many points at all. So I think this year we'll start off on fire with Jurgen. I think we're right up for it, and I think we'll be. I think we'll win it this year. To be honest, yeah.
Well, we start off with Fulham, as we say, up first. Lunchtime kick-off on the Saturday, Fulham away at Craven Cottage. We can see here Jurgen Klopp's records on the opening day, and we can feel pretty confident, I think, from this. 5 wins from his 6. How do you fancy our chances at Fulham?
Well, you just said it, 5 wins out of 6. I could see it making 6 wins out of 7. It's always difficult first game of the season, no matter who you play. Fulham obviously just been promoted, so they'll have that sort of new season bounce about them. But I think we can go there and be confident we can come away with 3 points.
Yeah, they won't be grateful for Liverpool on the first day, will they, John? Let's show you everyone's opening day games. We were talking off air, there aren't too many blockbusters in this, I don't think, but what catches your eye here? Maybe City at West Ham, John?
Yeah, I think that could be tough for City. West Ham were a bad side last season. And I think City away sometimes can struggle, so fingers crossed we can get like 3 points ahead of them for the first game. Obviously Everton at home v Chelsea, so let's hope Chelsea, I suppose, beat them, I suppose, but apart from that, not much really, no.
OK, plenty more to come from the lads throughout the show. For now, back to you, Steve.
Becky, thank you very much indeed. Well, the manager, of course, got a great opening day record, we know that, but Mo Salah could be about to claim the best ever opening day figures, Mike. Incredible, this.
Yeah, he's played 5 opening day games for Liverpool, Mo Salah. He's scored in every single one of them. And look at his goals per game ratio here. 7 goals in those 5 opening day games. He's only one off the entire Premier League record. And we're talking some of the greatest Premier League goal scorers in this list. You know, Alan Shearer, the record goal scorer, Wayne Rooney not far behind him, Lampard, the top scoring midfielder, and of course they've played a lot more games than Mo Salah in this list. So incredible that if he scores against Fulham on the opening day, he will equal that record, and he might well back himself to overtake it.
And of course, I think we're all absolutely delighted, Neil, that we know he's going to be here for at least another year. He's going to want another amazing season and he'll want to get off to a really good start.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, quite incredible stats, aren't they, then? The fact that he starts the season so well. I mean, we know that he got the Golden Boot last season. It was something that he'd missed out on in a couple of seasons. And these are some of those goals that he has scored on the opening day. I still can't believe he drew this game 3-3 against Watford, but there you go. That was one of his first goals for Liverpool, of course. This one against West Ham, comfortable win at home on the first game of the season. See there, nice little tap in. I mean, he scores such a variety of different goals, doesn't he? And this one against Norwich, another newly promoted side at home. lovely finish. I mean, nice and calm in that position. And I think he's going to want to get off to a decent start this season, get the goals. This was one of a hat-trick I think he got, didn't he, against Leeds on the first game of the season. Another newly promoted side. Watching this feels strange because there's no fans there. Is there? I remember that season, and that was something hopefully we never have to return to, but that was certainly a strange feeling to see, scoring a goal in front of the Kop with no fans there. And then last season, of course, you were thinking, will he get a goal? And eventually does get a goal, and what a finish that one was. So Golden Boot last season. He will definitely be in the mix again this season, and you would not bet against him scoring a goal first day of the season at Fulham.
Golden Boot. And of course the man who got the most assists as well in the Premier League, and you can drill a little bit into that on opening day figures as well, Mike.
Well, he got 2 assists in that Norwich game where he also scored. He got 2 assists in that game, so if you add that to his goals, 7 goals, 3 assists, so he's contributing 2 goals or assists per game on match day 1. So he's 3 behind Rooney. It'd be some going to get 3 goal involvements to level with him. But just another point to make is that those 7 goals on match day 1 is the most by any Liverpool player in history in the top flight on the opening day, above even Ian Rush, the club's all-time record goal scorer. So his record really is phenomenal. If you give him a pre-season and he gets into the swing of things, then he starts on fire, really.
And he could well upset another Liverpool legend this season by becoming the all-time Premier League goal scorer for the Reds.
Yeah, I mean, when he signed, we had no idea just how good he was going to be. I mean, he's been absolutely unbelievable. The fact that he is in setting all the records, 5 seasons he's been here now, he's only a couple of goals behind Steven Gerrard, one of our greatest ever players. Robbie Fowler, again, one of the best strikers we've had. You know, I'm sure he'll surpass the total that he scored. And look at the games he's played. You know, he's played so fewer than certainly Steven Gerrard and Robbie Fowler. He's been absolutely phenomenal, and I think we're all excited, aren't we, to see him next season scoring the goals that he certainly has done over the last 5 seasons.
Absolutely. A legend already, but sure to cement himself even further with goals this season. That's it for part 1, but stay with us. When we come back, we'll be checking on the dates of those games against Manchester City.
Yeah, warm welcome back to our live fixtures show this morning. Do join in the conversation on social media if you can with us. Let us know your thoughts on that opening day fixture. Liverpool are taking on Fulham at Craven Cottage. I'm with our COP season ticket holders, John and Dan. Over on the other side in the posher studio, Steve Hothersall's got Neil Mellor and Opta's Michael Ree with him as well. Back with those in just a minute. But we are going to take a look at those first 6 fixtures for Liverpool, and there's a couple of massive ones in there. We start, as we say, with Fulham away, then it's Crystal Palace at home, then the first meeting with Manchester United is early on in the season at Old Trafford on August the 20th. Then it's Bournemouth and Newcastle at Anfield, and the first Merseyside derby is at Goodison on the 3rd of September. John, there's some big ones in there in the first 6.
Certainly is, Becky, yeah. United and Everton away first, which I prefer, to be honest, getting them out the way, away from home. United obviously struggled last season, so we should, new manager as well, we should put a few past them. Obviously Fulham away, first game, they were sort of runaway leaders last season in the Championship, but we've got one of the best players now in Carvalho, so I don't think they'll be as strong this year, and especially in the Premier League, so we should beat them, I think.
I mean, there's extreme confidence there. Are you confident, John?
Yeah.
Good, that's what we like. Go on, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, obviously we touched on the fixtures that we look out for early on. United away, hopefully it can be another 5, maybe 6 this time. Everton also away, and I think Newcastle, everyone knows about their newfound wealth, so I'm sure they'll strengthen and they'll be probably a tougher aspect than they have been previously.
Well, we can bring up Jurgen Klopp's records in the first 6 games of every Premier League season that he's played, and this is a remarkable record, really. You can see here, only lost 3 of those 36 matches. And John, it's so crucial, isn't it, to get off to a good start and get that momentum kicking in from the off.
Definitely is, yeah. I think even this team now, well, rivalry against City, I think even a draw sometimes feels like a defeat. So I think you're going to have the boys fired up. I think we'll go on the front foot from the first game, and I can't see dropping many points there in the first 6 games, to be honest.
Yeah, as we know, City can sometimes start a little bit slowly, but they always put a run together towards the end of the season, don't they? So getting those points in the bag early on is crucial, as John says.
Yeah, I think you're right, Becky. I think the mindset that Liverpool have got now, that's been built over the last few seasons, especially with the way City play, is every game's a must-win. As John just said, you know, a draw sometimes feels like a defeat because it doesn't happen very often. But you also know that if you draw, City will more than likely take advantage of that, either playing later on or even before.
OK, these two are pretty confident, I think. Steve, back to you.
Thank you, guys. Well, we saw that table that Becky just showed there, which showed Klopp's opening 6-game record. Pretty decent. But just how important is it to actually get off to a good start in terms of your title challenge?
Yeah, so if we look at the teams who won the league in the last 6 Premier League seasons, and we look at how they got off to the start, you can almost split this table into two sort of sections. The teams, Man City in 2021 and Chelsea in 16-17, who won exactly half of their games. They then, later in the season, had to go on quite a good run of wins. Chelsea won 13 in a row that season and Man City 15 in a row to recover the perhaps less good start that the other teams in the list had, who got at least 4, 5, 6 wins. So if you're going to win the league, the good start is really helpful. You look at the starts Liverpool, Man City and made in from 2019 and 2017 in those tables. They all got sort of 97, 98, 99 and 100 points in those seasons. So if you get the good start, it does help you massively. And if not, like Chelsea and Man City did in those seasons I've just mentioned, you can recover it, but you have to recover it later in the season.
So a few early hiccups for Manchester City will be brilliant, Neil. So where are the bumps in the road?
First game of the season.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, West Ham away. They ended up drawing that game, didn't they, last season? West Ham 2-0 up. How didn't they win that game? But yeah, I mean that's the tough start for them. You'd fancy them to beat Bournemouth. Newcastle, I think, is going to be an environment that's uncertain. There's going to be a lot of transfer activity in August, so not a bad time to play them. Palace, you'd expect them to beat Forest, although they struggled against Palace last season. They got beat at home to Palace. So there's not too many problems for them in those opening 6 games. Quite interesting to see how poor they have been the last couple of seasons. They have dropped points. But maybe because of the amount of players coming back, I think it was the Euros, wasn't it, last summer? So it was a bit of a slow start for them. Yeah, it'd be great to see them drop points at West Ham, but that's as tough as the game in those opening 6, I think.
And let's face it, given the intensity of the games between Liverpool and Manchester City, you're immediately drawn to those 2 fixtures between each other. So October the 15th at Anfield and April the 1st at the Etihad. And potentially, these are the ones that could decide the title.
I think we're saying it because one of our supporters, John, mentioned it there, because of the consistency that both teams show in terms of winning games. So draws last season almost felt like defeats because you know that if you're going to drop 2 points, it could be crucial in terms of trying to beat our rival. Now, City and Liverpool are way ahead of everybody else, 20 points. Chelsea, the closest to both teams last season. We expect it to be similar. The first game is at home, and I feel as though that's an advantage for us to try and get that first victory of the season against a rival. When we won the Premier League a few years back, it was at home. We did win that game, and I felt as though that gave us that advantage. I think it went from 1 point to 4 points, a bigger advantage in terms of the gap. The one April the 1st, that will probably change because of TV games, we know that. There's 10 more games left in the Premier League season. That could be a massive game, but 2 big games to look forward to.
Let's give ourselves a reminder of those 2-2 games against Manchester City last year.
Fabio, Salah, beautifully done by Mohamed Salah, and now he really is striding with purpose, and that's on for Sadio Mane! It's an incredible Liverpool goal. Gabriel Jesus trying to run through the heart of Liverpool here, which he does, and he finds Foden, who scores brilliantly. Salah doesn't have anything to work with there, but he somehow kept the ball. Incredible feat by Mohamed Salah, and he goes on! Oh my word! How can you even put that into words? 10 minutes to go at Anfield. The ball is for Foden. Sterling goes now. Kyle Walker goes now. Robertson's half touch. Kevin De Bruyne, goal. De Bruyne away from Fabinho, shot deflected, and it's in. Here's Salah at the other end. Jota arriving away by Stones. It's going to come to Andrew Robertson, and the red shirts are arriving round the back. Alexander-Arnold, Diogo Jota, goal for Liverpool. De Bruyne's corner, Joel Matip's header at the near post. Cancelo. And it's in towards Gabriel Jesus, who scores. Mohamed Salah, and there's a ball for Sadio Mane, and Mane for Liverpool! Goal for Liverpool!
Well, there always seems to be something riding on Liverpool against Manchester City, so let's have a look at Jurgen's particular record against City. There's been some thrillers there, Mike.
Yeah, since Klopp arrived at Liverpool, he's actually won more games against Man City than he's lost, but it's these recent games that maybe there is an area of concern for. Since Liverpool, if you remember, knocked Man City out of the Champions League at the end of the 2017-18 season, only one win in 8 games in the Premier League against Man City since then. And as Neil alluded to earlier, that was the season Liverpool won the league. The first game was at home, 3-1 win at home at Anfield, and that could be so important again this season. The first meeting between the two teams is at Anfield again. It was last season, but of course the 2 games ended in a draw. If Liverpool can get a win in one of those and change this sort of record, 1 win in 8, it's not great. That could be really decisive at come the end of the season.
Right, so that's Liverpool against Man City, but actually really interesting. Liverpool didn't pick up as many points as you might have expected against top 4 teams as a whole last season.
Yeah, this table looks at Liverpool's record against sides that finished in the top 4, and Liverpool drew all 6 games against the other 3 sides. That was at Man City, Chelsea and Tottenham, who finished in the top 4 last season. So only 6 points, which was the lowest against those top 4 teams since the 2017-18 season, where it was only 5 points. I mean, no losses, you could argue they were unbeaten, but you do need to get wins in those big games as well, and that's what even you know, Liverpool, some people would say, struggled in the 2020 and 21 season, but still got more points against those top sides than they managed last season. So that will be an area where if Liverpool can pick up more points in those big games, that could be really helpful come the end of the season.
Well, there we go. There's a quick check as well on the dates that we've got for the games against Chelsea and Tottenham, Mike.
Yeah, that's right. So Chelsea quite early in the season, in that 17th of September. Then the return is at Anfield in January. Tottenham away in the 5th of November, and 29th of April, quite towards the end of the season, for that home game at Anfield against Tottenham. So that could be really an important game.
In reflection, Neil, are you thinking opportunities missed in those games last season against those teams?
Absolutely, yeah. I felt as though we should have won certainly a few of those games. Here's some of the action for you. The one at Anfield, I mean, Havertz, does he mean that? I don't think he does. I think he's lucky with that one. You know, Reece James gets sent off on the stroke of half-time. They go down to 10 men, we score that. And then it was just a big defensive display, wasn't it, for Chelsea to hold on. We got ourselves into a great position away, 2-0 up, first half, away at Chelsea. You're thinking, right, see it out till half-time. And then hopefully the second half we can maintain that lead. I mean, it was brilliant, wasn't it, from Mane and then from Salah. But both of Chelsea's goals came right on the stroke of half-time. I mean, this one, I mean, he did do that. I've not seen him ever do that. I mean, what a wonder goal that one from Kovacic, and then this one from Pulisic. These were both in added on time at the end of the first half. That's frustrating. Just 2-0 up, you're thinking, get in at half-time, we can win that game. Spurs away, I mean, Harry Kane scores, shouldn't have even been on the pitch for the tackle after he made against Andy Robertson, but he does, he scores. I think we recover really well in this game. We equalise. I think we got ourselves in front, don't we, after that as well? Yeah, we do. Here we go. So we get ourselves in front into a really strong position. Andy Robertson, before he gets red carded shortly afterwards. So you're thinking, right, 2-1 up again. So it was a case of dropping points from winning positions. A very unusual mistake there from Alisson. Son gets the equalising goal. But again, it's points where you're thinking they're dropped. This was a cracking game at Anfield. Ultra defensive display, I think it's fair to say, from Spurs. They get themselves in front. Enjoyed this one when Diaz scored. You're thinking, can we get a winning goal last 10 minutes? We didn't. But yeah, I mean, they were problematic fixtures for us last season. It was more drop points rather than the opposition deserving those points.
I think we're all still a little bit annoyed with that Spurs away result, aren't we? We're going to take another break. When we come back, we'll check on the derby dates. See you in a minute.
Corner taken quickly, Origi!
Yes! What Jesper? You got him!
Is it right? Is it right? Is it right?
You got pound? You got pound for a trolley? Yeah. Can you help me with it?
Yeah. Brand new FIFA.
Look at this. Can we just get this on camera, please? It's
Scouts, that's it.
I think I need better opponents. This is where a little goal of mine just tickled the net.
It's just the best feeling ever when you get into the ground and when we score, it's just brilliant.
Go! Lee, you are the best.
Yeah! The legend, one of a kind. I love the man.
Anybody got any ideas? I'm thinking Star Wars, but with coconut.
Yes, what's going on here?
How are we? See you guys.
And welcome back to the Fixtures show. Liverpool are going to face Fulham first up next season. And don't forget to keep joining the conversation on social media. Right, two games we're all really interested in every season, of course, are the derby games. September the 3rd at Goodison, with the return at Anfield on February the 11th. And Neil, there was a point towards the end of the last season where, let's face it, we wondered whether Everton would be staying in the Premier League. They've got to get better.
Yeah, I'm not sure they will. Still got the same manager. Talk about perhaps some of the better players leaving as well. I think what we have to remember is Everton 4 or 5 years ago were a side who genuinely could say they were competing for maybe top 8 sort of in the Premier League. Nowhere near it. Absolutely nowhere near it these days. And I think it'll be the same again this season. I think what's fortunate for Everton is there's a lot of sides worse than them in the Premier League, so I think they may well be OK next season. Really enjoyed the first derby away at Goodison. Didn't enjoy the derby at Anfield. I thought you could see with Everton's approach it was frustrating. It really was to watch, but we ended up getting there, and I think Andy Robertson's goal was one of my favourite goals of the season actually at Anfield. But this was comfortable, the away game. There was obviously a lot of unrest at Everton at the time. Rafa Benitez was the manager. There was talk about a protest, the fans walking out, and that first half performance, we absolutely destroyed them. Remember the season before? There was no fans there, but I think the Everton fans probably wished they weren't there for this game. It was brilliant. Completely one-sided performance. Yes, Everton got a goal back, but it never felt nervy at any point in the game. It was a emphatic victory, and it can be a very tough game for Liverpool to go to Everton, because we know about the rivalry. We know that Everton, the fans, make it a very difficult place to play, but it was a brilliant away victory, and I'm hoping for something similar again this season. There you go, Jota just putting the icing on the cake there for that one. The home game took a long time to get that opening goal. It was frustrating. Andy Robertson, have a bit of that in front of the Kop. That was a good moment. And then who else? Playing Everton, who's going to pop up with a goal? There we go, Divock. Won't get one this season, but he had a prolific record, didn't he, against Everton? And yeah, it was nice to get the 3 points. 6 points, of course, against Everton last season.
Divock doing what he does best, scoring in the derby. Well, Mike, interesting, the derby doesn't rank in Jurgen's favourite games in terms of points won. I suppose too many draws.
Yeah, that's right. Too many draws. Not last season, of course, did double over Everton, but too many draws in the previous season. And the fact that some of these points per game ratios that Liverpool have here under Klopp are pretty high. You look at Wolves, 8 wins out of 8 under Jurgen Klopp in the Premier League. Norwich no longer in the Premier League. Stoke, of course, haven't been in for a few seasons now. But Crystal Palace, remember when they were considered a bit of a bogey team for Liverpool, certainly when Klopp arrived. In fact, they were the first team to beat Klopp at Anfield when he became Liverpool manager, but he's turned that around, and they're one of his better records now against an opponent. Aston Villa and Bournemouth, who of course are now back in the Premier League, so with that record, Klopp might be happy about that.
Right, let's get some more from the dressing room. The fans are with Becky.
Yeah, thanks very much, Steve. I'm going to bring John in on this, because I know you say the Merseyside derby is the one that you look out for, but after that 5-0 at Old Trafford last season, I'm sure that the 20th of August it is against Manchester United at Old Trafford. That'll have a red ring around it on your calendar, surely.
Certainly will, yeah. Great scenes last year, Mo with the hat-trick. Seeing all the fans come out the stadium about 60 minutes, they've been empty at the end. Just brilliant, you know. And I think people talk about Liverpool not winning the 2 big trophies last season. But if you can't enjoy games like that through the season, there's no point watching football for me, really. So, fantastic, yeah.
I'm sure you said earlier on you fancy 6, so you're hoping for one better this season.
Yeah, well, you like to go one better than the season before, I think, Becky.
You do.
So, yeah, as John said, look, great games, the games that you look forward to. We've obviously had a very long period of time where United have been the superior team. It's nice to have the shoe on the other foot this time and for us to be the dominant force.
Yeah, it's hard to think of a season where you could have enjoyed a pair of fixtures more against United than last season, John.
No, definitely, yeah. 9 goals in 2 games. It's fantastic, yeah. Our nearest rivals in the trophy counts as well, so it's putting daylight between them now, so it's great, yeah.
And they've obviously got a new man in charge, Erik ten Hag. I mean, how do you think that's going to go from it? It's a huge job he's got on his hands, isn't it?
It's a massive job, and hopefully it'll be an even bigger job once he gets there. Yeah, I think a big clear-out's needed. I think a lot of people have made comparisons with the way Liverpool were in the 90s. I actually think it's bigger job than that. Even I think United are so far away from challenging Liverpool and City. I think they just need to probably concentrate on just even trying to get into the top 4.
Yeah, it's a huge job for him, isn't it? OK, we've talked about it. Let's take 90 seconds to enjoy it, shall we? Here are those 9 goals against Manchester United last season.
This is what they feared, Manchester United, as well as Liverpool commit bodies forward here. Big chance for Keita, and Liverpool have the advantage. And they're all over the place at the back, Manchester United. Trent Alexander-Arnold's cross, and it's 2, and Manchester United on the ropes. Salah, it's lovely to watch again. Salah with the effort, still might break here. Naby Keita involved again, and it's 3. Robertson looking for Diogo Jota. It's a bobbler, and it's 4 for Liverpool. Jordan Henderson trying one round the corner. That is absolutely beautiful from Henderson, and it's Mo Salah again. 5 for Liverpool. Henderson, Sadio Mane. It's a lovely ball. Now then, it's Salah, and he's got Luis Diaz in the middle. Goal! And Liverpool are in front early. That's Matip. Great feet, and on, and Salah's in, and Mo Salah for Liverpool. The goal drought is over now. Super win by Robertson. And here come Liverpool, turning defence into attack. Luis Diaz, Sadio Mane. Stunning, absolutely stunning. Good job, the youngster is full of enthusiasm and energy, because that turned a very bad pass into just an average one. Oh, here's Salah. Liverpool looking for another. Dink, goal, easy as you like. Liverpool are taking Manchester United to the cleaners now.
Yeah, made it look easy, didn't they? Lovely memories, those. But, Mike, the stats are going to tell us that that's a little bit unusual. Manchester United not normally one of the manager's favourites.
Yeah, if we look at, we've just seen Jurgen Klopp's favourite opponents in terms of points per game. If we flip it round, Manchester United are in the bottom 3. But Liverpool have won their last 3 Premier League games against Manchester United now. So Manchester United were actually the worst in this table before that. But what's funny is these are the teams Liverpool have the worst record against under Klopp. But not one of them has beaten Klopp's Liverpool more times than Klopp's Liverpool have beaten them. You know, even Man City, 5 wins to 4 losses. The closest are actually Swansea, which is funny. 3 wins and 3 losses there. So Klopp generally has a favourable record against every single team he's faced in the Premier League, and long may that continue.
Neil, check out this graphic, because it just confirms how important it is that you actually take points off your rivals. You know, City, Chelsea, Spurs, all alongside Manchester United there on this table.
Yeah, I mean, they can prove to be more valuable, can't they, come the end of the season? We know that. You know, ultimately you still have to get the business done and beat the lesser sides in the division, but the rivals are the big ones. You know, John mentioned it before, from the fans' point of view. You've got to enjoy those moments, because they don't come along too often. I mean, we absolutely battered Manchester United and Everton last season. Really enjoyable moments. And City's proven to be a tough game over recent seasons, and the reason being they are our biggest rival and have been for the last few seasons. Don't have to worry about Swansea, but Chelsea as well. That is always a tough game. I think Spurs will be a tough game again this season. I think they'll improve from where they were last season.
But one thing we can be pretty sure of, Mike, is that Liverpool are pretty hard to beat at home. That's the foundation of things for them.
Yeah, and this next graphic completely shows that. If you look here, this is Liverpool's home record in the Premier League in each of Klopp's full seasons in charge. They've remained unbeaten at home in 4 of the last 5. So, and those 6 defeats in 2021 all came in a row, but in front of no fans, of course. So the last time Liverpool actually lost a game at Anfield in the Premier League with a crowd there to see it was the end of the 2016-17 season against Crystal Palace. So yeah, that's the foundation for this Liverpool side under Klopp, is being strong at home, and we know how Anfield is such a fortress, how the fans get behind the team, and that showed that 4 out of the last 5 seasons unbeaten is some going.
So Neil, based on that home form, if we're looking at how Liverpool are going to start the first few home games, Palace, Bournemouth, Newcastle, Wolves, Does it look good?
Yeah, sort of thinking win, win, win. But we know it will be difficult, of course. We know these sides are going to come and try and frustrate or try and make it difficult. But we've been absolutely superb. I mean, quite interesting to see that graphic, just how good we have been at home. It's been a very difficult place for teams to come to. I'm looking at the draws last season thinking a little bit frustrating. Brighton is the one that stood out when we drew the game 2-2. Of course, Spurs, Chelsea and Man City, all rivals of ours. But that Brighton one proved costly. So hopefully next season, we're not dropping too many points in terms of those draws at home, and we can maintain again the unbeaten record. The fans make a difference. You know, that COVID season, we missed the fans. The fans make such a difference at Anfield for us.
Plenty of home highlights last season. Becky and the fans are going to pick up on that for us. Becky.
Yeah, thank you, Steve. It's been a pretty decent few years to be an Anfield regular. I mean, John, you won't have seen a league defeat in the stadium since 2017. That's 5 years now. A phenomenal record.
It is absolutely amazing. Seems years ago as well, lifetime away. It's I think it was Palace, I think it was. But now going to games is fantastic. You expect to win. Great attacking football, edge of your seat for 90 minutes. And as I said before, we get a odd draw here and there, feels like a defeat.
Yeah.
But it's a fantastic time, to be honest. Yeah, really spoiled.
It is incredibly special times and easy to forget when it's week in, week out, isn't it? How lucky we are at the moment to be watching this side every week.
Yeah, I mean, you know, you blinking, it's gone. I think if you look back, and I think probably in years to come when you look back and you think, wow,
yeah,
you know, there's 5 seasons there where, you know, pretty much unbeaten at home. You know, the last game that we lost against Palace, it was very much a different Liverpool team to what is now. And these are the days to be enjoyed.
I'm going to stick with you and ask for a highlight from home that maybe we haven't mentioned so far. Any special games that stick out in the memory?
I'd probably say Arsenal last season, because I think at the time we were 6-7 games into the season. I think Arteta had sort of turned Arsenal around, and you know, he was lauded as, you know, the new saviour of Arsenal and all the rest of it. And the game actually was quite poor until Arteta picked the fight with Klopp on the touchline, and that ignited the game, ignited the crowd, and Liverpool ran out 4-0 winners.
What are your thoughts? That Arsenal game, obviously, Mikel Arteta
exactly.
maybe kind of fell away towards the end of the season, didn't they? So he's got a big job on his hands as well.
Well, you know, I thought periods Arsenal were very good, and then they had a good young side, but I think in the big games let themselves down sometimes, you know. And big games did win, and then the week after they get beat against Everton, you know, stuff like that. So it was a bit inconsistent really, but you know, I think they'll be up there again this season, the top 6 possibly.
OK, well, the games against Arsenal next season are October the 8th and April the 8th at Anfield. Time for another break from us. When we come back, though, we're going to look at the run-in, and we'll be asking as well whether the World Cup is going to have a major impact on this new season. Back soon.
And welcome back to the Fixtures show. Liverpool facing Fulham away on the opening weekend of the new season. If you're watching on social media, please do keep your comments coming in. Use the hashtag PL Fixtures. We'd love to hear from you. Now, of the promoted sides, we're very familiar with Fulham and Bournemouth, but Neil, Nottingham Forest is a new opponent for the manager. They worked miracles last season.
Brilliant to see them back in the Premier League. A huge football club. We had a little glimpse, didn't we, last season of them, of course, in FA Cup action and made it a difficult game for us. I mean, the start of last season, they had about 5 or 6 games at the bottom of the Championship, and they were talking about maybe it being a difficult season. Steve Cooper came in, and we know Steve Cooper because, of course, he was the manager of the Liverpool under-18s. He's gone on, and he's a top coach. He is a top manager at Nottingham Forest. An incredible season. And I think Forest are going to be really competitive next year. I think Fulham and Bournemouth will struggle. I think we tend to find that with newly promoted sides. I won't mind betting that Forest will be the highest placed team out of the newly promoted teams because of the coach. He's a top manager, top coach. A couple of star players in there as well to keep your eye out for as well. So, yeah, when do we play them? October and April, quite late on in the season, isn't it, that one?
Yeah, so we've got the dates for the newly promoted team. So Fulham at home, March 2023, and of course we start the season away at Fulham. Bournemouth away in March, home on the 27th of August, and as you mentioned with Nottingham Forest away on the 22nd of October. And the 22nd of April at home. Let's have a look at the manager's record against newly promoted sides then, Mike. Is it favourable?
Yeah, it certainly is. Liverpool have got a pretty impressive record. In fact, there's 3 categories on this table. So promoted to the middle one here. 31 wins out of 40 against promoted teams in the Premier League under Klopp. So that is generally a very favourable record. The one record here you'll want to really improve on is that record against reigning champions. Only 3 wins out of 12. If, obviously, against Manchester City, we spoke about earlier how important those games would be. But the other one in this table that Liverpool have quite a favourable record in is after midweek European games, you know, where you might have had a long journey into the continent in Europe and come back and had to play a difficult Premier League game. Well, Liverpool still average over 2 points a game in those games, so really impressive record. The one that he'll want to improve, though, is that the one against the reigning champions there.
We can't do this show without wishing Jurgen a happy birthday. I'm sure he's woken up to actually watch the Fixtures show on his birthday. I'm convinced of it. Let's talk about into January and how they've fared historically. Because actually this year, or the last season just gone, did pretty well. It's not always been the case, has it?
Yeah, I think it's sort of well documented how Liverpool have struggled, and this table shows if we look at Liverpool's record month by month in the Premier League, January and February are the lowest 2 for points per game. 1.79 in January, 1.77 in February. So it's so often, and it'll be so important again this season because it's immediately after the World Cup. So that could throw things up in the air. Will players come back fully fit or injured or tired after a run of games? But look how Liverpool start and end the season. September and August are the 2 best for points per game, and then May the 3rd behind them. So the start and the end of the season, that's where things probably matter the most in a way, and that's where Liverpool have been at their best. But yeah, that January and February record will be the ones that need improving.
Yeah, this season's going to be so different. The season's stopping on November the 12th. It's resuming on Boxing Day. How does that really affect things for the players and for the manager?
Well, yeah, we don't know. It's completely new, isn't it? I've not met many people who are fans of the timing of the World Cup. You know, it's completely different. But it's 6 weeks without a game for us. Now, the good thing is we're looking at fixtures there in terms of the games before the World Cup. Forest away, Leeds at home, Tottenham away. Tottenham away is the one that stands out as the toughest, isn't it? So 6 weeks without a game, and you're thinking which players are going to come back full of belief, maybe because they've done well in the World Cup, maybe a little bit deflated, but also key players like Salah and Diaz in terms of attacking plays, they will not be at the World Cup, so they will be absolutely raring to go when it comes to those games in January at the back end of the World Cup campaign.
And of course, you don't know the knock-on effect, do you, of the World Cup in terms of player fitness, fatigue, etc.
Yeah.
But here's the games that come immediately after it.
Yeah, so we're away first game, we're away on the last game, we're away on Boxing Day, thinking surely we deserve the home game in one of those games. So that's a little bit frustrating. Villa away, Steven Gerrard, of course. I think they will improve from last season. I expect us to have more players away with the World Cup than perhaps Aston Villa. I think looking at that, there's more space between the games. So between Villa and Leicester, in the past it's been slightly more congested, and then Brentford away, of course, which was a frustrating one last season, wasn't it? That 3-3 draw, which we'll look to improve on.
OK, what do the fans think about a 6-week break? Becky?
Yeah, Yeah, it's a strange concept, guys, isn't it? What do you think about 6 weeks without going to Anfield? You'll have England games to watch, but it's not the same, is it?
Not the same, no. I think the World Cup has always been in the summer. So when the season finishes, you look forward to that more football again, you know, a few weeks afterwards. I say it's only 4 weeks long, the World Cup, but missing football, Premier League football for 6 weeks, it's going to be strange, yeah. Yeah, I don't agree with it, to be honest.
What about yourself, Dan? Fan or not a fan?
No, Becky, not a fan at all. As John just said, you know, it's always a summer tournament that you look forward to. The fact it's, you know, it's been wedged in halfway through a league season. You know, the worry is who comes back. Are they injured? Are they tired? Does it affect the way Liverpool end up going, you know, on all fronts? So yeah, not a fan at all.
OK, we're seeing the games immediately after the World Cup. Let's dive ahead to the end of the season now. If it goes to the last day, we can show you the list. Manchester City have got Brentford away, then Chelsea. Apologies, we'll show you that in a moment. We'll just look at the final 6 games first. So these could be crucial as the title race hopefully should be alive and kicking then. We've got Southampton away, Liverpool is the final game. Before that, it's Villa at home, Leicester away, Brentford and Tottenham at home. And West Ham away starts that final run of 6 games, John. It's fairly winnable games in that 6, do you think?
I think there is, yeah. I think West Ham away, I think we owed them one from last season. The 3-2 there defeat. And then last season Tottenham at home was a tough game. I think we had a lot of games before that game. So I think we struggled that game for intensity. So we owed them one again as well. But then after that, I think Brentford, Leicester, Villa, Southampton, they're pretty easy winnable games, to be honest. Get past those West Ham or Tottenham games, I think we'll be OK.
Yeah, well, we can show you, as I said before, the list of the final day's games. Now, Manchester City, they face Brentford away. Chelsea have got Newcastle at home. Manchester United have got Fulham at home. And as we say, Southampton away for Liverpool. It's a long trip, firstly, for the last day. But do you fancy that, going to Southampton if you need 3 points? That's winnable?
I suppose it depends where Southampton are at the time, whereabouts on the table they are. If they're fighting to stave off relegation, then it could be a tough afternoon for Liverpool. But like any game, I always fancy us to win. We've had a couple of good results against Southampton recently, so hopefully the boys can keep that up.
OK, and I can't let you go without asking your thoughts on the big acquisition of the summer. Darwin Núñez, John, what do you think? Happy?
Yeah, made up. Real marquee signing up there with Virgil and Ali for me, to be honest. I think after City signing Holland, we needed to make it a decent sign up front. And I can't wait to watch him play. Yeah, last season at Anfield he was great. Didn't give Konate and Mata a minute piece at all. And it's going to be interesting as well to see how Jurgen sets up now, because he's more of a traditional number 9, not sort of a false 9. So hopefully be more attacking again this season for us.
It's a big statement, isn't it, from the manager? What are your thoughts on Darwin Núñez?
It's a massive statement of intent. I'm really, really pleased, excited. He offers us something different. I think there'll probably be a tweak in formation from Klopp. Another subtle evolution by him. And I think with Trent and Robbo putting the ball into the box, I think he'll lap it up, really.
Okie doke. Back to you, Steve, where I think Mike has got some Núñez stats, I think.
Yeah, I think Mike's been beside himself since this signing. It's given him a chance to delve into the stats. Just how good is he?
Yeah, well, it has, as the guy said, he's such an exciting signing for Liverpool that we've just got here just to show how good he was last season in the Portuguese league, just how clear he was in terms of the top scorer. 26 goals in 28 games. He actually only started 24 of those games. His minutes per goal ratio was 76, which was the best in Europe's top 6 divisions last season. So he had a quite incredible record. And look at Luis Diaz as well on this table. Of course, Liverpool went and signed him in January. You wonder if he'd have maybe been a bit closer to Núñez had he stayed a bit longer. But Liverpool with two of the standout performers in the Portuguese league last season on their books now.
Neil, he's fast, he's physical, but he's tall. Something we've not really had. He's 6'2". Is it a different option for Liverpool?
Yeah, it's been a while, hasn't it? I mean, you must watch Liverpool, and when you played against us last year in the Champions League, thinking we've got Trent on one side, we've got Andy Robertson on the other side. The delivery that's going to be coming in for him to have those chances, he must be absolutely buzzing to get those the opportunity to play for Liverpool. He's a top talent. He's got enormous potential, but there's not that pressure for him to be the main man next season. He's got Salah there, he's got Diaz there, Bobby Firmino still there, so there's still attacking options Time for him to settle in. He's got one of the best managers in world football. To take him from that top-class player to a world-class player, we've seen players do that. Mane do it, Salah do it, and this is another one of those players. No doubt about it. He knows where the back of the net is. He's got that little bit of flexibility, maybe on the left-hand side, maybe down the middle. Physical presence is quick. Can't wait to watch him. Cannot wait to watch him score some goals next season.
Yeah, I think we're all the same. And a word on Fabio Carvalho, another new signing.
Yeah, obviously he's a bit younger, a bit more maybe of a raw talent, but if we look here, this is a championship table for most goals and assists by players while they were aged 20 or under last season. Second to Brennan Johnson, promoted with Nottingham Forest. So Fabio Carvalho, good signing too.
And that's it for us. All done for this morning. Thanks for joining us. Really appreciate your company on the show today. Thanks for your comments. We've just got 7 weeks until the Premier League season kicks off. 7 weeks before that, there's pre-season games on LFC TV Live. Make sure you don't miss those. Thanks to the guys, Mike and Tanil, the rest of the crew, and we'll see you soon. Goodbye.
Souness, and still he's onside. McDermott this time. Souness!